Russia's role on the global stage has always been a subject of close observation, but the ongoing conflict with Ukraine has dramatically shifted international perceptions. When the war first began, many believed Moscow would achieve its objectives quickly, yet the reality has unfolded very differently. Instead of strengthening its influence, the prolonged conflict has placed Russia under unprecedented pressure, both domestically and internationally. Economic sanctions have tightened, global companies have withdrawn, and trade networks once seen as reliable have weakened. The energy sector, historically Russia's strongest lever of power, has faced reduced demand in Europe as countries diversify their suppliers. This shift has significantly reshaped the balance of global energy markets. Inside Russia, reports suggest growing challenges. Citizens face rising prices, limited access to imported goods, and uncertainty about the future. While official narratives emphasize resilience, independent voices note that long-term strain is unavoidable. Analysts point out that younger generations, who have greater exposure to global culture, are questioning the direction of the country. This generational tension is subtle but important, as it may shape Russia's future trajectory. On the battlefield, Ukraine has demonstrated unexpected resilience. Western support in the form of equipment, training, and intelligence has helped Ukrainian forces push back against initial advances. The conflict has highlighted weaknesses in Russia's military planning and logistics, revealing vulnerabilities that were previously hidden. Experts argue that this has not only affected Moscow's prestige abroad but also challenged its long-standing image as a major military power. The political consequences are profound. For decades, Russia's leadership projected strength and stability, but the drawn-out war has introduced uncertainty. Political commentators note that maintaining public support is becoming more difficult. Censorship and information control remain strict, yet in the digital age, narratives are harder to contain. Social media, despite heavy restrictions, still allows fragments of truth to filter through, fueling debate within the population. Internationally, Russia faces isolation in ways not seen since the Cold War. Membership in global organizations has been suspended or limited. Partnerships with traditional allies are under strain, and global investors remain cautious. Meanwhile, Ukraine has gained sympathy and support across the world, positioning itself as a symbol of resistance. This has shifted alliances and accelerated NATO's expansion, a direct reversal of Moscow's stated goals before the war began. The economic toll cannot be overstated. Sanctions have hit banking, technology, and aviation. The ruble has faced volatility, and efforts to pivot trade toward Asia have proven complicated. China and India, while offering some cooperation, remain cautious, prioritizing their own interests over unconditional support. This leaves Russia in a more fragile position, reliant on fewer partners and unable to fully replace lost Western markets. For ordinary citizens, the consequences are deeply personal. Inflation impacts everyday life, from food prices to basic goods. Skilled professionals, particularly in technology and academia, are leaving the country, leading to a brain drain that weakens innovation. Families face separation as conscription expands, with uncertainty about how long the conflict may last. Such conditions foster quiet dissatisfaction that, while not always visible, erodes confidence over time. The global implications are equally significant. Europe, once dependent on Russian energy, is accelerating its transition to renewable sources. NATO has expanded in both size and unity. Neutral countries are reconsidering their positions, shifting closer to Western alliances. The war, instead of dividing the West, has reinvigorated cooperation. This leaves Moscow in a more isolated position than before, undermining its diplomatic leverage. Looking ahead, Experts outline several possible scenarios. Some suggest the conflict could drag on for years, depleting Russia's resources while Ukraine continues receiving international support. Others believe internal pressures may eventually force Moscow to seek negotiation. In either case, the strategic miscalculations are clear. The war has not strengthened Russia but instead exposed its vulnerabilities, weakening its influence both at home and abroad. In terms of leadership, maintaining control becomes more complex as economic and military challenges mount. While authority remains firmly in place for now, history shows that prolonged crises can shift political landscapes quickly and unexpectedly. Observers are watching closely to see how Russia manages these pressures in the months and years to come. The narrative is stark. A campaign meant to project power has instead highlighted limitations. A nation once seen as an unshakable force is now portrayed in many international discussions as struggling to adapt. The impact of these developments will echo beyond the battlefield, shaping Russia's role in the global order for decades. As the war continues, the question remains: how will Russia navigate the consequences of its choices, and what will be the lasting impact on its people, its leadership, and its place in the world? Only time will provide the full answer, but for now, the signs point to a nation facing deep challenges at home and abroad, with uncertainty clouding its future.